Happy St. Patrick's Day, everyone. St. Patty's Day is probably one of the most popular and well-known Catholic saints' days, right next to St. Valentine's Day. And what says traditional Catholic holiday like commercialized knickknacks, gaudy decorations, and getting fucking piss drunk? I would feel bad about what became of the holiday if I cared for the Catholic Church. Instead, for me, St. Patrick's Day carries fond memories of marching in Baltimore's St. Patrick's Day parade back in high school and dicking around the city afterward. It also happens to be the day after my partner and my anniversary. I haven't really properly celebrated since we hosted a St. Patty's Day party like 5 years ago. I love hosting and went all out with decorations, food, and of course, alcohol. If you're all over 21, I highly recommend finding a recipe for spiked shamrock shakes. It was a really big hit with my friends. Amongst the ridiculous decorations you'll see around this time, there's always a similar character lurking. You know him, you love him, the generic leprechaun. I don't exactly know how the folklore creature became synonymous with St. Patrick's Day, but you can't go 3 feet in the holiday section at any Walmart February/March without seeing at least 6 different versions. Traditionally, the leprechaun is described to be an old man dressed in green or red back in the day, only about 2 or 3 feet tall. For the most part, the depiction still fits in modern times. Somewhere along the lines, leprechauns have gotten a little younger in likeness with red hair. I figure the red hair changed because of the stereotype that all Irish people are gingers, which definitely isn't. Most modern depictions will have the leprechauns all jolly and cute, but back in the 90s, that changed. In early January 1993, the creatively named film Leprechaun was released to theaters. Directed by Mark Jones, Leprechaun was a horror comedy that took the small creature's cute likeness and turned it into a monster with the power of prosthetics. The movie stars Warwick Davis from Willow and many other films with the demonic Lucky Charm, and Jennifer Aniston from Friends and We're the Millers. This is actually one of Jennifer's first roles, and she's really tried her best to forget it. I don't really blame her though. Let's get into the synopsis so I can get this over with. Dan O'Grady steals 100 gold coins from a leprechaun while on vacation in Ireland. The leprechaun follows him home, but Dan locks the murderess in a crate held at bay by a 4-leaf clover. 10 years later, J.D. Redding and his daughter Tori rent O'Grady's property for the summer. When their new neighbors accidentally release the leprechaun, he goes on a murderous rampage to reclaim his gold. Don't be fooled by the murderous rampage. This movie is closer to a Goosebumps episode than the likes of any of the other popular slasher films. The only difference being that they swear and show blood in this movie, and I doubt Goosebumps could get away with that, even in the 90s. Now, start counting your gold coins. We're diving right into Leprechaun. Sounds painful. No time wasted here. We get a glimpse at the creature as he hides away to count his gold, narrating to himself, naturally, of course.
Try as they will, and try as they might. Who steals me gold won't live through the night.
Then we get thrown sometime later, somewhere else, with this very Irish fellow drinking Jameson straight from the bottle, rolling up to his shabby little farmhouse in a limo. His wife is pretty distressed because they obviously can't afford that.
Gotten into you, Mr. O'Grady.
Just the start, my dear. Just the start.
But he shushes her and assures her that they're rich now. He goes on about how he trapped a leprechaun back in Ireland and brought back his gold. She doesn't really believe him and just goes to make some tea.
Come to bed now, and I'll make you a pot of nice hot tea.
While the kettle is boiling and her husband is out hiding his loot, wifey here hears a voice. I think it's supposed to be their child, but I can't be sure. It doesn't really matter. The voice is coming from a suitcase, so obviously she has to open it. Like, no time to question why a child would be in her husband's luggage. Oops, someone's got slippery feet. R.I.P. wifey. Hubby comes home and is greeted by tea and the little demon who demands to know where his gold is. There's a bit of back and forth as he forces the leprechaun into a crate with the power of the four-leafed clover. After dousing the crate in gasoline and carrying his wife's body upstairs, the man attempts to burn the place down, I guess. Unfortunately for him, he has a stroke. I think it's supposed to be from the leprechaun's curse, but it's unclear to me. 10 years later, the movie really likes skipping around a lot, but don't worry, we'll be stuck in the same day for like the next hour or so. Strap in. We meet Jennifer Aniston's character, Tori, as she complains to her father about not staying in California for the summer. She's clearly a material type of girl. This grody old farmhouse ain't doing it for her. She barely has reception on her portable. Ugh, so lame. As she's calling the nearest hotel for a room, Tori runs into this hunk of a house painter. Nathan calls her out for being a baby, but also goes a little too hard for basically a complete stranger.
Well, I just think it's funny the way girls are always afraid of spiders and stuff, you know? I don't know many guys that are afraid of houses.
Doesn't matter though, because his hassling convinces Tori to stay, even if it's just to spite him. Love this competitive energy. Around the back, we meet Nathan's little brother Alex and his much older friend Ozzy. Ozzy here is really into the weird conspiracy type of stuff, like UFOs and Bigfoot, probably Mothman too. I'm also pretty sure that they're implying that he's autistic, but nobody ever explicitly says it.
Save it to get Ozzy into operation. To fix his brain.
You can't fix Ozzy's brain.
The whole point really is to show that one of these poor suckers, Ozzy, is going to believe that there's a leprechaun, and the others are going to just think that he's making it all up as usual. After a not-so-funny prank by Alex, Ozzy is covered in paint, and Tori offers for him to clean up in the bathroom inside. And of course, while he's inside, Ozzy hears a child's voice calling out for help. Flashback to the old lady at the beginning. By happenstance, Ozzy accidentally pushes the anti-leprechaun clover, which results in this bitch busting open the box and shining Ozzy's shoes. As you can guess, nobody believes Ozzy when he tells him what actually happened, and everyone assumes it's just a rat that busted open a solid wooden box. Sounds just as reasonable as a leprechaun, I guess. But this isn't Willard. Back outside the house, Nathan and Tori are having a ghost moment when he leaves to get more paint, which leaves Tori to be felt up by the leprechaun. When Nathan and her dad try to find the supposed cat that was the pervy culprit, Mr. Tori's hand gets bitten. Something fierce. Say goodbye to father here. He doesn't come back for like the rest of the movie. In the meantime, Ozzy and Alex find a convenient bag of gold. While trying to figure out if it's real, Ozzy swallows one. Oops.
Oh my God. I swallowed that gold coin.
Probably won't be a problem later, right? Alex makes the plan to take one coin into town to be appraised and hide the rest. And wouldn't you know it, the others are headed into town anyway for just a little jaunt to the hospital. While Tori and Nathan tend to Tori's dad, Ozzy and Alex head to the pawn shop to see how much they can get for the coin. The shop owner wants to do some more research into the coin in order to see how valuable it really is, and promises to get back to them the next day. Unfortunately, he doesn't make it due to a rather bizarre pogo accident. I'm sure the guy would have given it up if you just asked, my dude. The leprechaun then goes to steal from the poor corpse and almost immediately gets pulled over by the cops. For what? Like, speeding? Come on now. Long story short, the cop doesn't make it either. Back with the non-demonic part of the cast, Tori's dad has to stay at the hospital for observation. I guess to make sure he doesn't have rabies or something. And the guys have nothing better to do, I guess, so they all hang around the house until the leprechaun finally makes his grand debut and Nathan gets bear trapped. Pretty sure he should lose his leg from that. Even though they fucking saw him in the flesh, Tori still denies that there's a murderous leprechaun after them. There's a lot more taunting by the little bugger while the cops stand by being useless per usual. Tori wants to take Nathan to the hospital, but doesn't go too well. Finally, after Tori having a fucking meltdown, Alex fesses up to having had hidden the creep's gold. Tori puts on her big girl pants and heads out to the well to get the gold and tosses it to the little goblin's face. But, uh-oh, there's, one missing.
99. A missing coin.
Wonder where it's at. I'm gonna skip along and just tell you that they decided to get advice on how to defeat the leprechaun from the old guy in the beginning who's in a nursing home now. Poor bastard was already visited by an old friend, though. He's able to spill the secret, though, that all they need is a four-leaf clover, and all will be well. I guess a clover is to leprechauns as a crucifix is to vampires? Tori rushes back to the house in search of a four-leaf clover in a patch around the back. They find one, even in their panic, but not before Alex puts himself in danger. But after Ozzy sacrifices himself and gets beaten up real good, Alex is able to shoot the clover into the leprechaun's mouth via slingshot.
Fuck you, Lucky Charms.
Oh, and now the police show up. The nicest thing I can really say about Leprechaun is that it's reminiscent of Goosebumps episodes, like I said before. Not all the acting is great, but it's got a nostalgic quality to it, and the lore behind it all isn't completely awful. Like, it just isn't executed that well. However, I could go on and on about what makes this movie suck. First being the lack of gore. Now, normally, I'm not a gore fan. It's literally the one thing that keeps me from watching horror movies on the regular. But Leprechaun is so close to being rated PG, the only thing stopping it is occasional blood and a few curse words. It's boring. And a story that's this ridiculous with a character this crazy shouldn't be boring. I think this movie could have done better if there was, like, less characters in it. I know that there's really not a lot to begin with, but there really isn't a reason for Alex or Ozzy or Nathan. This could have been just as good, or if not better, if the cast was narrowed down to just Tori and her father fighting against a demonic leprechaun. Maybe throw in the others as fodder for a little gore and murder, and that's it. The supporting cast doesn't really add anything to the story. It's almost offensive sometimes. Basically, take what the leprechaun did to the cop and the shop owner and add like Nathan and some other adult. Maybe kill the old guy in the nursing home on camera too. I'm stopping myself here. I don't want to make this a complete rant session. Today, I want to redirect your attention to the Irish Red Cross. Since our founding in 1939, the Irish Red Cross has been dedicated to serving people in need, whether they are here in Ireland or caught up in humanitarian crises in countries and regions throughout the globe. Today, the Irish Red Cross maintains an active network of over 3,000 volunteers at 78 branch locations based in large and small communities throughout the Republic of Ireland. I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. I've really been enjoying watching horror movies that I used to be too chicken to watch lately. So if you have any suggestions on what I should watch next, please leave them in the comment section down below. If there are any other questions, comments, or concerns, also the comment section. All I ask is that you are kind, because I'm sensitive. Happy St. Patrick's Day, you little demons.